Africa. And as far as martial law or martial law-like environments, just go to Zimbabwe, just go to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, go to Sudan, go to Sierra Leone, South Africa. When it comes to horrible treatment, black people have treated themselves far more horrible than whites ever have. And that's a fact.
Hey, Anxiety Boy here. So yeah, you just saw this clip of our favorite, my favorite new videos to watch. And if you ever go to his videos, go to his page. There are quite a few people that agree with him. Basically, here he's making the argument that, you know, countries in Africa have treated black people worse than what white people have treated black people. And my only argument to that is, who cares who treated who worse if they were both bad treatments? That really doesn't fly. That's a horrible argument. And there's many more. I'm going to play some more of this. I'll put a link to the videos if you want to go watch them yourself. It's really interesting the way this gentleman thinks, and obviously he's got some support. So just trying to shed the light. But yeah, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there are African countries that treated black people worse than white people treated black people, or vice versa. It wouldn't matter if there were Europeans that treated white people worse than, you know, say Asians treated white people. It doesn't matter. If you're treating someone bad, that's what's wrong, right? Alright, so we're going to go to the next clip. And by the way, this is a two-parter, but I'm going to have to edit it down. So, you know, if I ever, lest I be accused of editing and manipulating the video to make him look bad, he does a good job by himself. You should check out his videos.
That you can't deny. And one thing I want to bring up about that, and it just seems that what upsets black people more is not the treatment they get, although they might not like the treatment. What bothers them more is who's doing it to them, because they seem quite willing to tolerate things like horrible treatment, police brutality, slavery, martial law, dictatorships, despots, when it's being done to them by a black government or a black person. It's just when it's being done to them by a white person that they get upset. And I'm not knocking that, in all honesty. Matter of fact, I would say that's commendable. I wish white people had the pride and the dignity to get upset like that when outsiders do things to them. Because pretty much that's all the white people allow, is to let any outsider come in and shit on them, piss on them, suck their country dry. They've been allowing that for 40 years. So there's nothing wrong. I'm not knocking it. I just think it's something that needs to be admitted.
Okay, I don't accept the premise that black people somehow accept oppression, slavery, dictatorship from other black people, and it's just okay, and, you know, they don't have a problem with it. Certainly race would amplify it if it is a white person. It shouldn't, but it does, and I will grant you that point, that when it comes to racial things, it can get very heated because of the racial, because that's just the way, that's just the way it is. That's the way that society grew up in, that everybody's suspicious of everybody. But that being said, no, I don't think it's commendable that you would accept oppression from someone of your own, but from an outsider somehow it's crossing the line. I think it's deplorable that you would accept any oppression, whether it's a white guy, a black guy, an Asian guy, an Hispanic guy. You know, it shouldn't matter what race they are. If they are oppressing you, or if they are enslaving you, or if they are ruling you in an unfair, unjust way, it is horrible. And that's what should have been said.
Some people would say it's hypocritical that blacks will allow their own to do something but not another. I don't think that's hypocritical at all, because I think what black people do, or what any people do in the realms of their own country, is their own damn business. No matter how brutal it may appear to outsiders, they have the right to do that.
No, they don't. There's things going on over in Darfur, a little genocide. It's not their right for one group of people, because they're both happen to be black and they both happen to live in Darfur, but they're from different tribes. It is not their right, the upper hand tribe, the one who's got the upper hand, the one who's got the guns, to go and slaughter women, children, and men. But everybody wants to put women and children because that always tugs at the heartstrings. Yeah, no, that's a horrible statement. Again, it's not true. It's not a fact. It's very faulty logic. But from what I've seen of some of your videos, that's the way you think. Which, you know what? You have the right to think that way. I just think it's a little silly.
Think about where you'd rather live under. Would you rather live under the dictatorship of George W. Bush or Robert Mugabe? Make a decision and realize that nothing's stopping you from going to live under Mugabe. And I'm not saying you want to go, I'm just saying hypothetically. Just get a passport and a one-way plane ticket. You're off. They might mind. They might not want you to stay there, but you'll have no problem leaving here.
Okay, so this is the old, if you don't like it, you can go back to Africa bit that a lot of people I grew up around would say, well, if they don't like it, they can go back to Africa. Well, no. And to answer the question, I would rather live under neither, but thank someone that, George Bush can't run for a third term. But no, I wouldn't want to live under either dictators. But the fact is, you don't sit there and say, well, you can go live in Africa if it's so bad here. No, you should encourage people who feel that they are getting the short end of the stick to actually try to change what is wrong, or what they see is wrong, through the process, not love it or leave it. Because I could turn right around and say, if you don't like what's going on in the country now with Obama, and if you don't like what's going on with the demographics, the way the demographics are going in this country, well, then you can simply just go back to England or Europe or whatever European country that your ancestors or your family came from. You can go back to Europe.
Hold on a second. I wanted to show these books here. This book was written by the Nation of Islam. It talks about the role the Jews played in this transatlantic slave trade. Very good book. But concentrate on the bibliography, the sources where they got their information from, and order some of those books. Excellent book. And you'll see that the Jews and the Zionists who pretend to be the purveyors of equal rights, that's just the one of their acts of lies. And this is another good book I read recently. Get it from Amazon.com. The two authors are brothers here. No relation to the Kennedys of Massachusetts. But in here they show where historical records prove that only 7% of whites in the South, not just in the South, I'm sorry, throughout the whole country, because there was some slavery in the North, but only 7% of whites owned black slaves. Blacks are owned by more than 7% of the population, but only 7% were white. The remaining percentages who own blacks had names like Rubenstein.
I don't get the picture. 7% of whites owned slaves. So 7% of what? 7% of 10 million? What was the population of the country in before 1863 to 1865, when slavery was legal? So if you're talking 7% of 100 million, that's 7 million people. That's quite a bit. And, again, who cares? I mean, I know you have an agenda. I know Ted Turner has some link to, his great grandma's babysitter was Jewish, so that makes him controlling CNN, makes him a Zionist. I mean, I know you have an agenda, but so yeah, 7% of white people own slaves. That's 7% that was wrong. And yeah, this other percentage that you didn't quote of Jewish people were also wrong. So, and the fact that you're quoting the Nation of Islam book, I mean, I understand that, you say they have sources and they got all these sources, but it is the Nation of Islam, and they have been known to, bend the truth a little bit. And it's just really funny that you find alliance with the Nation of Islam. I thought that was pretty comical.